Hi, welcome back to the second session of how to generate your terminal invoice. In this particular session, we'll be focusing on how to generate terminal container invoice. Recall that in the previous session, we generated our rural invoice and everything went smoothly. So in this particular session, we'll be discussing the container invoice. So I'll click on the usual login page and the usual login icon rather, and this will take me to all my module interface. Now you see the shipping, the logistics, and what we're talking about today is in logistics and the operations. So you see all my available modules here, and I will click on the terminal invoice. Under it you see container. I'll click select. You allow the system to load the interface. As you can see, it is still loading. So once it's done, you will see this welcome. You will see this particular page. Prepare container invoice. Now, the container invoice is quite similar to the rural invoice that we prepared earlier. So you can either scan for invoice or enter the bill add-in by searching. So previously, I did mention that there are things that you need to do or some prerequisites that must be completed, such as all the units in that particular BL must have been discharged, customer exit note must have been linked, and as well as any container or any unit that is meant for off dock must have also been discharged. So the same thing applies in this container invoice. So let's proceed. Now I want to search. I click on it. Once I click on it, you allow it to load another interface where you can input the PL number or the vessel name or the voyage number. Preferably you put the PL number to be precise, because by putting the PL number you get a precise PL you are looking for. So I click down. Let's pick a random PL. So once you click on it, you allow it to load. Once it loads, you see all the necessary information. All the necessary information there. Like we see the consignee name, Mike Noel Nigeria Limited. We see the consignee address and phone number. We also see the notifying name and address, which is here, Mike Noel Nigeria Limited. Now the notifying name in this case is the same thing as the consignee name. So after that, the next thing you need to fill up is the agent name and agent ID. The agent name and agent ID is the agent in your front that is ready to pick up the consignment. Like by this time, the agent must have presented all his necessary documents. All his necessary documents like the ID card and the BL and all the necessary information that he is supposed to present. So you look at the name of the agent and you select from here, you do check. So once you click on it, it will bring a drop down of all the agents that are registered in the system. If I type a name that is not in the system will tell me that, oh, this particular agent is not in the system. But once the name of the agent is there and you verify that the ID of the agent is the same thing the same thing with what is on his or her ID card, then you select him. So let's say this is the agent we are selecting that wants to release the particular BL. Then the next information that drops down there is check consignee registration. Here you check if the consignee has been registered. Once I click yes, the system will check if the consignee has been registered. Now you see a pop-up coming up saying consignee registration check. Okay, this means that the consignee has been registered in the system already. I click OK. Now, the next thing I have to do is either to fast track or check for custom examination. So I click on custom examination. Now, custom examination means that this particular container is subject to be examined by the custom. While the fast track means there is no need for the custom to examine. In this case, it might be in you might find yourself in a situation of where a particular container has to be released by government orders or whatever condition that may arise for the container to be released in fast track. So I click on custom examination. Now this will load another interface where it will tell me to select rated up to date. Now the rated up to date is the date that the billing commencement or the last day of billing. So this is to enable the system calculate the charges from the day of billing commencement, either from the day of the ship, the day the ship bettered, or the day that was chosen for the billing commencement. So this is the rated up to date. Let's say the rated up to date is today. I select it, I click aside and allow the system to check. Once the checking is done, I click on check charges accuracy. This will check if all the charges that we are applicable to this particular PL are accurate. You can see that the charges are accurate, and this is a breakdown of all the charges that are applicable to this particular BL. So the next thing there is process invoice. Once I click on it, it will process the invoice for payment. Now, after clicking on it and it processes the invoice for payment, what you see there is a checkbox that asks you to print storage charges analysis. This storage charges analysis checks all the storage charges or the analysis or the breakdown of all the charges, and it prints it one after the other. Like I mentioned in the previous video of while raising the RORO invoice, if the customer requests for a breakdown of the charges, this is where you click on it, where you select the print storage charge analysis. If the charges are 10, it will print 10. If the charges are 20, to print 20 of the charges, just the breakdown of each of the charges. Then the next one there is finalize invoice for printing. So if everything is accurate at this situation, there is no hiccup, there is no glitches or anything, you just click on finalize invoice for printing. The system will load and it will open another tab for you. This particular tab is the tab that you are supposed to print out the information or the breakdown of this particular invoice. I click on save and print. You allow the system to load. Now we see the breakdown of it. So for the purpose of reference, you can either save this. Let me zoom in a bit. You can either save this before you print. So I save as PDF, or you can print to file. I save as PDF so that when next you're coming, you'll be able to, when you're checking your system, you see that okay, this is the ones I've printed. Though this stage is not necessarily compulsory, but it is advisable that you keep a record or a copy of this in the system. So I save it with this name, the transaction ID. You can save it with any name at all, but it must be in reference to this particular invoice. Now you see the breakdown of our invoice. This is the invoice number, this is the customer code, customer name, customer address, notified party, customer agent. This is the agent that you're releasing the container to, the invoice date, the vessel birth date, and all other breakdown of the charges. If you look at here, you see description of charge, the quantity, the unit, the amount, the line discount, line total. Later I'll be talking about how to apply discount to each of these. So once you know that this is accurate, you can proceed to printing. And once you are printed, then that is all. Once you're done with the printing, you can come back to raise another invoice. Thank you very much.